After the president finishes up with health care legislation, he's reportedly going to jump into another very divisive issue, immigration reform. The LA Times reporting that the president plans to tackle a major overhaul of the nation's immigration system in the new year. According to the paper, senior White House aides have privately assured Latino activists that the president will back legislation next year to provide a path to citizenship for the estimated 12 million illegal immigrants in the United States. The plan will also include provisions to tighten security at U.S. borders against those who try to cross it illegally. Meanwhile, a group of artists and professors at the University of California, San Diego are trying to make crossing the border for illegal immigrants safer. They've come up with the Transborder Immigration Tool. It's a GPS-enabled cell phone to help those coming across the border find safe sources of water to drink. Joining me via Skype is Ricardo Dominguez, Associate Professor of Visual Arts at the UC San Diego, who's taking part in this project. And from D.C. is Bob Dane from the Federation for American Immigration Reform. Ricardo, let's start with you. First of all, how do these phones work? And what do you have to say to those who argue that you are promoting illegal immigration?
The phones are an iMotorola 455 series that have GPS-enabled systems that we've reconfigured to find routes, safe routes to water that have been set up by the border angels across the desert. So it's a safety tool as well as a poetic tool that is like the Statue of Liberty. It offers people a welcoming and a transborder right to cross in terms of safe passage. And it's this that I respond to those critics, we at the lab, that this is part of a long tradition of human rights. And right here with me is Dr. Amy Sarah Carroll, who's...
Wait, so I want to call you out on something there. You're combining immigration, illegal immigration over the border with poetry?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are. We're imagining this as both an artistic, mainly as an artistic and poetic intervention.
All right, let's bring in from D.C. Bob Dane, because I'm sure you have a little something to say about that. In all fairness, no one here is talking about actually helping ferry people over the border. We are talking about helping those who are already crossing to find water. Hundreds do die trying. So what's wrong with that?
Well, no one wants anyone to die of dehydration. By the way, I hope the GPS device, if they actually do it, works better than their Skype. But look, this is a very serious issue with potentially deadly consequences. It is encouraging illegal immigration. It may well be legally aiding and abetting illegal immigration. But I think the bigger issue is it's putting people in harm's way with deadly consequences. There are problems out on the border that are as bad or worse than a shortage of water. At a minute's notice, without hesitation, human traffickers, drug cartel leaders will rape, rob, and murder people they come across on the border. The only safe way to cross the U.S. border with Mexico is to either do it legally or not do it at all. That is the message we really ought to be sending.
Ricardo, I have to ask you, are you worried at all about being prosecuted? I mean, I'm sure you must know that aiding illegal entry is in fact a felony.
Well, we treat this as civil disobedience, and this is a type of history that we enact in a transparent way, where one breaks the law for a higher law. And at this particular point, the common law, the universal law of human rights is what we're interested in. That is the law of safe passage. It's not about resolving the endpoints, that is the laws in Mexico or the U.S. that are based on sort of fear and paranoia. And if you look at the critique of the Underground Railroad back in the 1840s, the kind of argument that the fair is using were similar. That is, these were unsafe routes. The slaves shouldn't cross this way because they could be attacked or raped. Again, our interest is just safe passage, not letting people die.
All right, Bob, I have one more question for Bob. The people behind this project are faculty members at a public university, and what that means is that taxpayers are footing the bill for this. Do you think that's appropriate?
No, it's not appropriate, because on one hand, you've got federal tax dollars that are being used to effectively deter and detain and deport illegal immigrants and supporting the Border Patrol efforts. And on the other hand, you've got the so-called art project that's funding a device that helps illegal crossers circumvent the efforts of the Border Patrol. Now look, you know, this is not poetry, it's propaganda, it's basically a burglary device. Porous borders, lax enforcement, those are the reasons people are coming here. It would be far more humane to simply send a very clear message that if you come here, you're going to get caught, you're not going to have easy access to jobs, and there's no promise of amnesty. That is ultimately the most humane thing to do for human beings.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Thanks to both of you.
Okay.